So today I wanted to share with you why storytelling is so important in the workplace. Kia ora, ko Monique Bradley tōku ingoa, he kai kōrero aho. I'm Monique Bradley and I'm a storyteller. I'm also the co-creator of this storytelling network that we call the Story People, which is part of We Do Famous, my business with Pete Ward. Storytelling is immensely powerful in the workplace, and we do it all the time anyway. So think of those times where we go out for a coffee with a colleague, or we get into work in the morning and the first thing we do is, oh, what was your weekend like? We're already starting to share stories, right? We do it all the time. We can use stories subconsciously in that way, and I'll tell you there's a bit of science behind that, or we can use stories intentionally, and that's something I actually do a lot of training in the subconscious space. What actually happens when we tell stories is that we start to actually not just communicate verbally and non-verbally with our non-verbal communication cues, we actually start to activate the neurotransmitters in each other's brains. So there's a lot of science in stories. When we share stories and the details, the context, and we share visual imagery through the language that we share, we start creating pictures in other people's brains. It starts to activate the neurotransmitters that in particular release something called oxytocin. And oxytocin is the chemical that is all about social connecting and bonding and love, of course, as well. So when we share stories in the workplaces, we create those pictures and tell people about what happened in the weekend. We are actually creating a deeper social connection with the people that we are working with. The real benefit there is that studies show that when people have more of a connection with each other in the workplace, they're more engaged, they do better at their job, and they have better retention in their jobs as well. There's masses of studies online. Check them out online. I won't go into all those details. The other thing that's really important about stories in that way is that the brain apparently remembers that information shared through a story 70% better than just sharing information alone. So if you can share stories in the workplace, then not only will you be more connected, information is more likely to get transferred and remembered. Now, if we apply that when we want to transfer information, so when we want to look at it consciously, if we're in a team meeting, instead of just delivering information all the time, talking through metaphors, so creating examples of learning that you want to transfer to your colleagues or to your workmates, that information is going to be better remembered. So it's a better way to communicate in the workplace as well. If you're not sure how to harness the power of being intentional with your storytelling, or how to use it maybe in your media or in your marketing, or even how to use it on yourself, I would like to invite you to join one of our storytelling workshops. They're happening here in Auckland, and we hope to launch them right throughout New Zealand as well. And it teaches you some of the key things you need to know to become more effective when you're crafting your story, but also when you're delivering your story. There's all sorts of tips and techniques that you can learn to make sure that information gets through. You can also partake, I love that word, partake. You can also partake or participate in one of our open mic storytelling sessions. So I'd love you to join us for one of those as well. And who knows, you may even end up with your story getting aired on Sky TV as well. So if you want to find out more, get in touch with us. Head to our website, We Do Famous. There's a work with us button, and you can drop down in that button to the storytelling tab, or click the link below this video. It couldn't get much easier. I look forward to seeing you at one of our workshops. Start there, share your story, because you never know when that story could just change somebody else's life. Engari, ko Monique Bradley tōku ingoa, he kai kōrero aho. Tēnā koutou, kia ora koutou katoa.